Hi, everyone. Welcome to class. Today's November 30th, 2023. And today we're going to be talking about some more basic computer skills. We're going to be talking about fixing typos. So we're going to talk a lot about using the keyboard, where to put your hands on the keyboard. We're going to talk about all the special keys because I know a lot of us are used to using this mouse to navigate and get around in documents or on the computer. But I want to teach you guys some skills on the keyboard today that also help you be faster at editing documents and moving through them. How is everybody doing, first of all? Anybody want to say hi? It's always good to see everybody. Ellie's on with us today, our other digital navigator. He's going to be helping Salome work through some technical issues, but hopefully everyone is doing fantastic. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. We got about an hour class today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a really easy class, but I think a foundational class, one that you can reference. Just as reference, you all, I did want to just mention that everything that we do on Thursdays, we record these, and then these are posted to YouTube page for Mission Africa within a couple of days normally. So we have one of our family members helping out making those YouTube videos. So they normally get posted within 2 to 3 days of when we record the training. So if you ever miss a training, you can always go to YouTube, just look up Mission Africa, and you can find all of the recorded trainings there. Because I know everybody's busy. It's the holiday season. We're working. It's dark. And we don't want anybody to miss any material. And so we want to make it as accessible as possible. So I just wanted to just put that plug in there. But for today, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. I'm going to turn my camera off just so you guys can see the main screen most of the time here. Okay, so you guys should now see my screen. It should be a Word document. And anybody feel free to mute or just type in there. So we're going to be working again on making like capital letters. There's two different ways to make a capital letter. Normally I see folks use one of the two, but they don't necessarily always use both. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about how do you make these special characters like the @ sign, the $sign, exclamation point, the open parentheses, the closed parentheses. So we're going to look at all of those things. When you read this first sentence here, there's no special characters. How many special characters do you see in this sentence here? I'll just give you guys a second to look at that. How many special characters? And that would be something that's not a letter or a number. How many special characters do we see in the second line there? Anybody want to volunteer?
6.
Uh, yes, that's what I got too. You see 6 different special characters there. And so this is all the stuff that we're going to work on. And also, we're also going to talk about just like where do you put your hands when you're typing? Because that's very important to help you be able to do this in a quick, smooth way. So to start off, there are 2 ways to get a capital letter when you are typing. So I don't know if you guys have a keyboard in front of you. Let me attempt. I'm going to turn on my screen and I'm going to show you guys my keyboard here. Let's see if we can get this to work a little bit. Let's try this 1 second. Let's see what my camera shows here. Okay, so you guys can kind of see my camera there. So just fix this really quick, sorry. So on the keyboard, there's 2 ways to do a capital letter. And so I'm just gonna move this around here this way so y'all can see. So this is my keyboard. Everybody's very familiar. You have your numbers over here. Most people actually don't have numbers over here. So if you're working on a laptop, you would just have something that would look like this right here, right? So you have your space bar down here. The space bar here, this big button at the bottom, this is going to create a space on your, in between different words, right? So if you're writing and you finish a word, you want to make a next word, to get that space, obviously you're going to use the space bar right here. 1 second. So that's going to be the space bar right there. So you have the space bar here. There's two ways to make a capital letter when you are typing. So the first way to make a capital letter when you're typing is we can use the caps lock button over here. So over here, just to the left of the A button, so right next to the A button, you have this button here, and it says caps lock. Okay. So that button will give you a capital letter. So let me just go here. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen just for a second because I want you guys to be able to see that. So again, just to orient you all to the keyboard here, we've got the space bar. We have caps lock over here. We have a tab. So again, caps lock is going to make letters capital. Tab, if you use this button here, it's called tab. Tab is going to allow you to move your shift over. So I'll show you guys and demonstrate exactly what that does. The other way to get a capital letter is to use shift right here. So right below caps lock, you have shift. But when you do shift, you have to hold the shift button down and hit the letter. So you have to hold it down. You can't just press it. You have to hold it down and then hit the letter that you want to write in caps. So for instance, if I wanted to make a capital A, I would hold down shift and I would hit A. If I wanted to make a capital Q, I would hold down shift and I would hit Q. Okay. So there's a couple different ways that you can get a capital letter. If you want to write in all caps a lot, that's when I would use the caps button here, the caps lock button. I would hit caps lock and then I would just start typing. And so just give me a second. I'm just going to move my, so then I hit caps lock and then I do my typing. And you're going to see as I move back to my screen here. So as I move back to my screen, you can see that when I just clicked on caps lock, it made everything in capital letters. So again, normally when you're typing, you're just going to be using the shift button. So you would hold down shift, maybe hit A to get a capital A. And then if you want to have a lot of capital letters, you can hold down you can just hit the caps lock button and it'll give you all caps. So that's going to be one of those important skills. Just learning how to capitalize and so forth is very important as you start writing documents. Okay, let me show you all the keyboard. One moment while I pull that up. Okay, so here is what a standard keyboard looks like. You guys, yep, you can see my screen. So this is what a standard keyboard looks like. So over here again on the left, we have the caps button, which I just was showing you guys on my computer and on my keyboard. This button, click it, and it's going to make everything caps that you write. If you hold down shift, you're going to get a capital letter. If you don't hold down shift and you hit a letter, you're just going to get the normal letter. But the thing I want to point out here is, see some of these buttons, like for instance, the 1, it also has an exclamation on top. The 2 has an @ sign on top. The 3 has the pound sign. And so those are there to give you extra access to some different options that you wouldn't be able to use without using shift. And so when you see any of these that have 2, so you have like, for instance, over here by the shift, you have the / and the question mark. So to access that special character at the top, so if you look at the 1 here on the screen, and then you have an exclamation at the top, to access that exclamation mark, if you wanted to input a exclamation mark on your Word document or where you're typing, you would hold down shift and then you would click on 1. So that's how you access that top special character. So, and that goes for all of these special characters. So you see here next to the enter button, the big button right here in the middle, you have a lot of special characters around it. You can see that a lot of the buttons on the keyboard have special characters. So they have two different buttons. And so those are going to, again, allow you to do some different things. Let me just had somebody show up. I'm going to just stop sharing my screen. I just want to show you guys
How
on
do you
my,
put those characters before you leave?
can you say that again?
How do you put those special characters on the right side, like the ones that
Yeah.
are two? Mhm.
Yeah, let me show you guys. So you can see my keyboard, right?
Yes.
Let me make it big for you so you can see it really big. Okay, so you guys can see my keyboard now.
Yes.
So up here, right, we remember we said we have like two different characters, right? So you see the one and you see the exclamation mark. You see the
Yes.
two and the @ sign.
Mm-hmm.
So to access that, you would hold down the shift button
Mm-hmm.
and then hit one. So if I hold down shift and hit one, I'm going to get that exclamation mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anytime you want to access any of those characters at the top of a key, the key to
Mm-hmm.
getting to that is using the shift, holding shift down
Mm-hmm.
and then pressing the button. So if I want a dollar sign, for instance, right, we have the 4, right? So on top of the 4, we have a
Mm-hmm.
dollar sign. So if I want to write a math formula and it had a, some kind of a money equation or something in it,
Mm-hmm.
then I would hold down the shift button
Mm-hmm.
and then hit 4, and that's going to give me a dollar sign. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So question for you guys, if you can see my screen here. So if I wanted to, so here on top of the 8, there's a star.
Mm-hmm.
How would I access that star? If I wanted to type that star, what would I do?
You press the shift and then you hit the 8.
Exactly. Do I have to hold shift down or do I just click shift one time and then hit
No,
the
you
8
just
on its own?
need to hold it down.
You got to hold it down.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, very important because it's caps lock is the one button that you can hit once and then it just stays activated. But for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of these buttons, you do have to hold down shift and then access it. So over here, right here, you have like a / and you
Mm-hmm.
have a question mark. Same thing,
Yes.
right? So if I just press that button and I don't hold down shift, what am I going to get? If I press this button here
Mm-hmm.
and I don't hold shift down, what am I going to get?
You get the slash.
I'm gonna get the slash. Exactly. Any questions on that, anybody? Okay, sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna go back to sharing my keyboard screen here real quick.
Uh, uh, I want to ask about the numbers where we have the
Yes.
numbers. You are writing a number and you want to put a line under it. How do you do it?
Oh, you want to put a line under a number?
Yes, or a name. You have written a name you want to put a line under, or we are coming to that.
Yeah, I
Mm.
can cover that really quick. That's not so much a keyboard thing, but I can show you really quick. Let me just share a different part of my screen, and I can show you that. Okay. So let's say I wrote my name. Oh,
Yes.
oh, I had the caps lock on. So I got the opposite. So I wrote my name. So I'm holding down shift. I'm hitting E. I'm going to get a capital E, and then I'm just going to do RIC, and then I'm do my last name, right?
Yes.
So if I want to underline that, so that's what you're mentioning, right, Margaret? You talking
Yes.
about how do
Yes.
you
Yes.
underline? hmm
Yes.
So to underline something, you see the blinking spot here on my screen?
Yes.
That's called the cursor. So
Mm-hmm.
wherever your cursor is, and I'll spell cursor for you guys. So that's called the cursor. So
Mm-hmm.
that blinking spot is telling me that if I start typing, that is where the next letter is going to go. So as you can see right now, if I started typing in this particular spot, right now where my cursor is, it's going to be right next to that R. But normally, of course, when you're writing a sentence, you want space, right, in between each one. So I would always hit space bar, and then maybe I would write, is right here. So you notice that your cursor always stays to the right. So as you type, it moves to the right. So if you wanted to, I just used my mouse and I just left clicked up here to move my cursor. So anywhere I left click moves my cursor, and the left click is the normal click on the mouse. So if I left click here, it's going to move my mouse up there. If I left click back down here, it's going to move my mouse down here. Does anybody, well, I'll just show you guys. So then to underline this, there's two ways to do it, Margaret. One way is to use your mouse and select. So click and hold, like we've talked about in a previous class. So you just click, so you get your cursor there, you click, you hold, and you move all the way to the front. And now it has the whole thing highlighted. Once you get it all highlighted and I release the button, because I've selected it, did you notice that this menu up here popped up? Right? So you have bold, italics, underline right here. So this is the one you're talking about. So, and this is a toggle button. A toggle button means that as I click it, it activates it and deactivates it. So if I click,
Where is it on the keyboard? I need to see it. I don't see it on the keyboard.
so it's not on the keyboard. It's not on the keyboard. That's what I was going to mention to you. The
Oh,
underline button is not on the keyboard. There is a button there that looks like an underline, but it is a dash or what we would call an underscore. So I'll show you what the one on the keyboard is. So let me share my whole screen for a second, because I understand what you're asking now. So let's share this screen. So on our keyboard, now you guys can see my keyboard, right?
Yes.
So on the keyboard, there is this button here. So you have the plus and the equals right next to it. You have an underscore and you have a dash on the same button. So let's say I wanted to do Eric underscore Hunter. Okay, so I hit shift and I hit that dash button and it gave me the underscore. If I don't use the shift and I just do Eric and I just hit the button just to the right of the 0. So again, here's the 0. And now I'm just hitting this button to the right of the 0 without the shift again. So it's going to give me the bottom one. Because again, I'm not using shift. So Eric dash Hunter. Right? We've seen this, so that's called a hyphen, right? When some people hyphenate their name, right? And so up here, I did Eric and I hit shift. So I got the upper one. So that bigger dash there, that is the underscore. So Eric underscore Hunter. But that's not the underline that I think you were mentioning. The underline, to underline a word, you highlight it and then click this U.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, but I need to know how to go to those characters, the ones that appear there. We'll get there. I know you'll get there.
Yes, we will. And this is, I'm in Microsoft Word now, which we haven't necessarily trained in yet. This is something that we will spend a lot of time in Microsoft Word. You can tell I'm in Microsoft Word because you can see the blue W up here in the top left, which tells me I'm in the Microsoft Word, which is primarily used for accessing and writing documents and things like that. Okay. Okay. So I'll put that away. Any questions from anybody on the call about the keyboard? And any questions? I'll give you guys a second to unmute if you need to. Okay, perfect. One last thing on the keyboard I want to demonstrate is the difference between these two buttons here. So you, above the enter button, you have this back arrow. Another name for that back arrow, and depending on your keyboard, it may say it or it may just have the back arrow. If you're on a laptop, typically the keyboard's a little smaller. It may just have a back arrow here. This is known as the backspace button. The backspace button will delete whatever is to the left of your cursor. So I'll demonstrate. So I have my name here, right? So, and I put my cursor right here in the middle, right in between my name. And if I hit backspace, it's going to delete everything to the left of my cursor. So watch. So I just hit backspace, backspace, backspace. So it's deleting to the left. Okay. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to put my name there. The other button that does the exact same thing, but it deletes everything to the right of the cursor, is going to be the delete button. So the delete button is going to erase everything to the right of the cursor. So let me demonstrate that for you guys for a second. So if I pull this up, so again, I have my cursor right here in the middle. And again, let's say I wanted to delete Hunter. So there's two ways to delete Hunter. I can come in the front of it and I can use delete on my keyboard. I'm hitting delete. I'm going to type it back again. Or I could put my cursor at the end and hit backspace. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Those are two powerful functions that you'll use a lot. I use those quite often. And so that's something I wanted to demonstrate for you guys. If I had you in class and we were in person, now is the time where I would have you go back in and actually test out some of these things. But obviously, you guys are at home today. So I would encourage you, though, on your own time, just practice like using this backspace button and then this delete button. They do the same thing, but again, the backspace button is doing to delete everything to the left of the cursor. The delete button is going to delete things to the right of the cursor, just like we saw here. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Just going to look at my lesson plan and see what else we have to talk about. Okay, yeah, here we go. So now I want to demonstrate for you guys. I'm going to turn back on my camera again here. Let's turn on the camera. And you guys should see my keyboard now. So the other part of the keyboard I wanted to demonstrate to you all is these keys here. So everyone is familiar, right, with the mouse. So y'all can see my mouse sitting right there. There's my mouse that I use, right? Mine looks a little bit different. Sorry about that. But then we also have these buttons here. And these all have arrows on them, right? So we have like a down button, we have the right, we have the left, and I think it's probably opposite for you guys, by the way. And we have the up button right here. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. So now my video is fixed, so it won't be opposite for you guys. So we have the left button here. We have the right button, down, and up. So these buttons will move your cursor. They will move your cursor on your screen using those. So oftentimes we want to go to the oftentimes we want to go back and forth using our mouse because it's easy to use our mouse, right? Most of us are used to using our mouse to move things around on a document. But another quick way to move around is to use these arrow buttons here to move your cursor up, down, left, or right. Also note here, you can see the backspace button on mine. And I also have a delete button right here. Okay, so let me demonstrate how the arrows work for you guys. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Let me pull up a Word document. Okay, so here I have my cursor. You guys can see the cursor's blinking. So if I wanted to go to the line below me, there's two ways to do that. I can use my mouse, and obviously I can just click down here to get down to the next row, right? So I'm just moving my mouse and I'm just clicking where I want the cursor to go. But the other way to do it that can be a little bit quicker than picking your hand up off the keyboard, trying to find the mouse, moving the cursor, I can just use the down arrow. So I know you guys can't see my hands, but I'm just using the arrows, and I'm just using the arrows on the keyboard now to move around the document. Notice I can go up, I can go down, I can go right, and I can go left. Quick knowledge check. Who can tell me? Feel free to unmute. I know Margaret knows the answer, so I'm not going to have Margaret answer right now. Who can tell me if I wanted to delete the word right? So you see where my cursor is. If I wanted to delete the word right, would I use backspace from here or would I use delete? Which key on the keyboard would I use to remove the letters in the word right from where my keyboard is? Anybody?
You hit delete.
Almost. So again, backspace, the backspace button is going to delete everything to the left of the cursor. The delete button is going to delete things to the right of the cursor. So I want to delete the word right. So do I want to hit backspace or do I want to hit delete to get rid of this word? Do I want to hit backspace or delete?
Oh, backspace.
Backspace, exactly. So backspace, one at a time, and it gets rid of that word. Okay.
It's backspace.
Mm-hmm.
It's backspace, exactly. So what is the two ways that I can move my cursor around a document? What am I doing right now? To move my cursor around, I can use the what or what. There's two ways to do it. I can use, what can I use on the keyboard to move the cursor around? Like I'm doing now.
The pointer?
I'm using the arrow keys. Yes, the arrow keys that are on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using
Or
the
by
arrow keys.
mouse.
Or by mouse. Exactly. Good job, y'all. That's it. So that's the two ways to do that. What about how do there's two ways to write a capital letter. Who can tell me the two ways to write a capital letter from the beginning of class?
Control plus B.
What was that?
By using
Control plus B, select.
Control plus B. Okay, so Control B will make it bold, but it's not going to make it capitalized.
Oh, capital.
So if we want to go with a capital letter.
Oh, cap lock is on.
Yes, caps lock. There you go. So you see my screens just say caps lock. Yes, so we went with that. And then what's the other way to get a capital letter? So I did caps lock and I hit B. What's the second way to get a capital letter?
Shift plus
Shift and B.
plus letter.
Yes, so Shift B, and there we go. So we have a capital B. So those are the two ways to get it. On the keyboard, this is a little bit of a tricky question. I'm going to share my keyboard again. I'm going to show you guys my keyboard. On the keyboard, there are two shift buttons. There's one on the left, one on the right. We haven't talked about this. Do they have a different function or is it the same thing?
Same.
Same thing. Exactly. Exactly. Good job. That is excellent. Yes. And so does anyone know why we have a shift button on the left and a shift button on the right?
So that you can use if you are the left hand or right hand.
Exactly. Exactly. So good. So when you're typing, this is what your normal hand formation is going to look like. And sorry, I have to hold the camera with one hand, so I can't demonstrate fully here. But so you guys are basically my eyes right now, right? So I'm looking down at my keyboard, and when you type, any typing class you take, they'll always teach you that you always start with your pointer finger is going to be on F. So your left hand pointer finger is going to be on F, and your right hand pointer finger is always going to start on J. So with my right hand, these would be the 4 buttons I would rest on. J, K, L, and then the semicolon. So that without looking, if I know I always have my hands here for typing, it's very easy. If I want to do a H, I know I just go here. If I want to do an I know I just go here. If I want to do an O, I know to go there. A P, I go there. But if I wanted to do a capital J, you normally wouldn't hit Shift and J with your one hand. It's a little clunky. Normally you would use your offhand, so your left hand, and you would hold down Shift with your left hand, like here, and then using your right hand, you would just hit J. So normally, if you're using the right Shift, you're probably making a capital letter on this side, right? Because you're using your right hand to hold down Shift, because your right hand kind of owns all this area here. Your left hand kind of owns all this area over here. So your left hand is going to do all of this. And your right hand is going to be from like H and up. So your right hand kind of owns all this area. And again, who can tell me, how do I access the and sign? So there's a 7 and an and. If I hit the 7, if I hit this button right now, will I get a 7 or and?
7.
7.
Yes, if I want the and, how do I get the and?
Shift plus
Shift and 7.
Shift and 7. Shift and 7. Excellent. Yes, you guys got it. Y'all got it. The last thing I want to show you today is the tab button. So the tab button sits over here, right next to the Q. The tab button is going to move your cursor over. And let me just stop showing my keyboard. I'm going to share my screen again here really quick. So I'm going to erase all this. So I'm just using backspace, just erasing everything. So you see where my cursor is here? So here at the top, I have a ruler. Can you see these numbers here? You see a 1, like a 1.5, a 2, a 2.5, a 3, a 3.5, etc. So you see a lot of numbers there. That is your ruler. So right now, my cursor is at 0. Because this would be the half mark and this would be the 1. So if I start typing right now, it starts typing from the 0 mark. Then I hit enter and it goes down. And again, the cursor now is back at 0. But as I type, you notice that it moves to the right. And if you kind of wanted to give an approximate location, if I put the cursor here, that's about the 1, right? But sometimes you want to make a list, or you want to, anybody ever make a shopping list? We just had Thanksgiving. Does anybody here do shopping lists when they go to the grocery store? I do. It helps me. So let's say I wanted to make a shopping list. And when you make a list, don't you normally want to you don't normally just go like this. Normally, if you say shopping list, I'm going to hit the tab button now. So you see my cursor again is at 0. If I hit tab, it moves over to the half mark. Did you see that it moved over to the half mark? So then what's the first thing you make for Thanksgiving? Turkey. Got to pick up the turkey. And if I hit enter, it goes back to 0 and I hit tab again. And then I'm going to hit tab twice this time. So under turkey, I'm going to put gravy. I'm going to tab twice. I'm going to put sauce, enter, tab twice. And then I'm going to say, what else do we put on turkey? I'll just say stuffing. Okay. And I hit enter and it goes back to 0. But if I hit tab 1 time, now I can put my next item. So let's say I say drinks. Then I hit enter, tab, and I want coffee, I want tea, tab, and I want
Juice.
water or juice, right? So do you guys see the value in using tab? It allows you to make to kind of structure your list and things in a nice orderly way, and it ensures that everything lines up. Because it's very evident here that this is the top of the list. This is the first item, but under the first item, you have some sub items. And then you have item 2, we need drinks. Well, what kind of drinks? Coffee, tea, and juice. And so I just used the tab button, and you can tab all the way across. Every tab, just going to zoom in here, every tab is going to go half an inch. So this is essentially half an inch, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So let me just move so you can see my cursor's up top. Again, it's at 0. As I hit tab, notice that it goes over about a half. So I'm right there. I'm gonna hit tab a second time, it goes to 1. Tab a third time, it goes to 1.5. Tab one more time, it goes to 2. And it just keeps going. It'll go all the way across the page because, again, tab is really, really powerful when you are making your list. Another reason to use tab is anytime you start a new sentence, you normally tab it. If you're writing like a book or a long story, you normally would tab the first paragraph. So you would tab and start with, just the other day I was outside eating and drinking when someone came over. They brought me a chicken and wings with a water. I was so happy. It was a good day, period. So then I hit enter, but before you start your next paragraph, normally you would tab and then start your next thought. The next day, I was, and ... right? So the tab button is what's going to ensure that each one of your paragraphs is starting at the exact same area of the document. So again, very important for having nice, clean looking documents. One mistake I have previously seen people do is they would try to do that using the space button. So they'll just use the space button and do it manually like this. But then it's hard because are those lined up? Or is this lined up with this? It's hard to tell, isn't it? So the solution,
Not
instead of
exactly.
they're not. This one's off by 1, so now they're lined up. But again, it's hard to do that when you're manually spacing it with the space bar. So the solution is to use the tab. Again, I'm going to do this one, tab, and now I know that these are starting at the exact location on the document. Any questions on the tab button? Hi, Leah. Good to see you.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
What is the different backspace and tab?
Backspace and tab?
Yeah.
Yes. So backspace is always going to delete everything to the left of your cursor. Okay. So when you are writing a document and let's say you have a word here, you have your cursor, and then you have another word here. If you put your cursor right in the middle and you hit backspace, it's going to delete everything to the left. If you use the delete button, it's going to delete everything to the right of your cursor. Okay, so those two are interchangeable. But then the tab button, again, tab is just going to move all of your words to the right. So let's say let me go back and share my screens for y'all.
Is we need touch or itself is one time touch or every
one
time
touch.
it's touching.
Yeah, one touch. So you can see my document here. I'm going to hit tab one time and it moves it over half an inch.
What about the next type?
What was that question?
After finish one paragraph, or what is the next? Is we need touch the tab or just it's itself in go?
if I understand your question correctly, and let me know if I'm not. So for the next paragraph, you would move your
Yeah.
cursor here again, right in the front, and then you just hit tab one time.
Oh, okay. Okay. Each paragraph is touch the tab.
Exactly. Each paragraph starts with a tab. Exactly.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If you're ever in, and I'll just show this just to demonstrate really quick, another program that we will eventually teach on in the coming months is called Microsoft Excel. I'm sure many of you have used it in some form or fashion. So Microsoft Excel is here. Also, and Excel is just used for math and things like that. So it's a spreadsheet. Excel also, so let's say I have a list and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have, let's say I have a budget, and you're doing a budget for, you know, food, car, house, and electricity. And then you had like January, February, and you had, you know, some numbers here. House, let's just say 1,000. Electricity, 120 a month. So also the tab button when you're in Excel moves you from column to column. So I'm just hitting tab as I move around. Because again, it's just moving where I'm going to input my text. So wherever that green box is, I can input, I can hit tab, it goes to the next one, and I can just continue to enter information. So we'll touch on Excel and do a lot of teaching in Excel going forward, but I just wanted to also just show you another example of what the tab button is used for. I use it all the time in Excel. I work in Excel probably 50% of the day at my 9-to-5 job. And I use tab a lot. So it's a very useful tool, again, because you don't have to, if you want to move around this spreadsheet, I don't have to find my mouse and go click and, you know, find things. I can just use tab. I can use enter to go to the next line, tab, enter, and just kind of go down like that using tab and enter. I'm just using tab to go to the right. Enter takes me to the next line. Tab, enter takes me to the next line. Okay, so let's do a little bit of review while we got a few more minutes here. Just going to take you guys over to here. Here we go. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you guys can take turns raising your hand, or you can just unmute and give me the answer. So we're just going to go through this exercise together, and then we'll wrap up for the night. So who can tell me? So here's our keyboard keys over here on the right, and then we have some sentences and some functions over here. So of these, spacebar, shift, enter, cursor, arrow keys, and backspace, which one of these over here on the right makes a new line? Which button on the
Enter.
keyboard makes a new line? Enter.
Enter.
Ding, ding, ding. Correct. Got the first one right. Let's see if we can go for 100%. Which button makes a capital letter or the top character on a key? So again, this one can be tricky. So
Shift.
makes a capital
Shift.
letter or the top character on a key. Shift. Good
Shift.
job. Yes, I thought that capital letter might get some people, but good job. Yep, shift. All right. This is the name of the blinking line that writes or deletes letters.
Cursor.
Correct.
As a
This
cursor.
button will delete characters to the left of the cursor.
Backspace.
Backspace. Backspace.
Yes, yes, y'all are doing it. We're going for 100. Ooh! This button makes a space.
Shift.
So there's only 2 buttons left. So there's only arrow. Is it arrow keys or is it space bar? Which button makes a space?
Space bar.
Arrow
Space
key.
bar. Space bar. And then the
Space
last
bar.
one, how do you move the cursor?
Oh.
Arrow key.
Hey,
Mouse.
very nice, very nice, very nice. Yes, you guys got it. Yeah, you guys got it. That's all the follow-up kind of questions that I had. I do just want to again encourage you guys on your own time. Please go back and just look at your keyboard. Kind of orient yourself because getting familiar with the keyboard is going to make you much stronger on the computer. Most folks are used to handling the mouse, but getting familiar with the keyboard is going to be very important for you to be able to do things just so much quicker. Again, just to review, who can tell me, I covered this really quickly. Where do your two pointer fingers go when you're typing? Where do your pointer fingers start at all the time?
J,
From J
F, and
and,
J,
and
One
H,
was one was J, and what was the other one?
F.
F.
And F, exactly. So if you put your pointer fingers on those and then rest your fingers naturally, that is your starting typing position. If you guys haven't taken any typing courses, you can go to typing.com. They have some basic courses there, some starter level courses. There's a lot of free material out there that you can look up online. If anyone needs help with that, please reach out. I would really encourage you guys to work hard. And it's going to take some time. Typing is not a skill that just you learn overnight. Because you do have to learn some muscle memory and you have to teach your hands to do some things that maybe they don't want to naturally do. But typing is a valuable skill that will pay dividends for you for the rest of your life. It's a skill that you'll use, just like cooking or driving. Being able to type is a very essential skill if you want to be able to go into working into maybe IT field or any professional office type position. Typing is going to be very important. So it might take 3 to 4 or maybe even 5 months, but I would encourage you to find an online typing course, start practicing your typing. If you can get up to 60 words per minute typing speed, you're going to be in really good shape and you're going to be grateful that you did.
Wow.
That's my challenge that I'm going to leave with you guys for today because I know you guys can do it. I know you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might sound like, oh, typing, but typing is just like anything that I mean, I don't know what you all do for a job right now. It probably when you first started, like, oh, I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that, but you learn. You learn through experience, and typing is no different. You're going to learn how to type by failing and then doing it again and then doing it again, because
Oh, yeah.
failing isn't really failing, it's stepping towards success, right? Every time you like, oh, it's a little bit frustrating, I didn't do it as good as I want to, but you're on that growth path. And I really want, and this is our goal for this entire class and this entire course, is for you guys all to come out of here feeling empowered, feeling like if you don't know something, you now know that you know how to learn, right? I know that I can go find a resource and I can teach myself this thing, because you're not going to learn everything in this class, but the one thing you are going to get, and my intent is to teach you guys how you best learn. Because once you learn how to learn, you can teach yourself anything.
Thank you. Thank you for what you
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys.
precious.
You're welcome. I'm going to challenge you guys throughout this whole class because that's why we're here, right? We're here to be challenged. We're here to do more. We're here to stretch, right? Doesn't it feel good when you stretch in the morning? It's the same thing in life. Like you need to kind of stretch yourself, right? So, all righty, guys. It's 7 o'clock. Are there any questions about anything? We are not going to have class this Saturday, so please don't come to Mission Africa on Saturday. We are all going to be at a church in Auburn. You can go to the Mission Africa website. I will post it here, missionafrica.us. And you can go there, and if you want to sign up to volunteer this Saturday, Mission Africa is doing a Christmas toy drive and coat drive for those that don't have much for Christmas or the holiday season, or maybe they need a cold weather coat so that they're not cold, as the weather has been really cold, as you all have noticed, I'm sure, in the last couple of days. And so that's going to be at Overcomer Church in Auburn, Washington, on Saturday morning. If you would like to volunteer, I think you can go to the website. And we're just looking forward to having a good time. So we won't have class Saturday because we will all be volunteering at that event. So the next class is going to be on Tuesday at 6 p.m. and then back here on Thursday, of course, at 6 p.m. also. So we're a few minutes over. Thank you all for attending today. I hope you learned something.
We
Have
did.
a good
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Bye, everybody.
And you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.